Hey yogis, I'm Nicole. Welcome back to my yoga time. Today I have another deeply restorative yin practice for you. So for this practice I'll be using 2 blocks. I've also got a yoga bolster. If you don't have a yoga bolster, you can improvise with 2 or 3 pillows, and we will be using the wall for this practice. So do position your mat close to the wall. When you're ready, let's begin with our legs up against the wall. So sit with one hip touching the wall, and then as you bring your shoulders down, you will swing those legs up. And it's okay if your bottom doesn't meet the wall. If you're really tight through your hamstrings and your back, you'll probably prefer a little bit of space there. Once those legs are up, we're going to place either one block on the flat side underneath your bottom, or if it feels okay, you can stack 2 blocks on top of one another. And then we'll straighten those legs and just let them fall heavy against the wall. You might like to rest the arms next to the body, taking chin mudra, index finger and thumbs to connect. Or if the shoulders permit, you can take those arms above the head. And gently place the very tip of your tongue where the teeth meet the roof of the mouth, feeling space between the top and bottom teeth. And feel that gentle tone, that gentle constriction through the back of your throat for Ujjayi breath. And let's maintain Ujjayi breath and the placement of the tongue for the entire class. And throughout this practice, let the breath moving the body be your point of concentration. So the mind will wander, that's natural. And when it does, just redirect it. Maybe to the breath touching the nostrils, or the navel rising and falling with the ebb and flow. That constant redirection to the breath moving the body is our first step to meditation. And when you're ready to release the pose, let's bend those knees. Push the feet into the wall, lift up those hips and remove your props. When you touch down to the mat, take butterfly pose. Bring the soles of the feet together. Let the knees fall out wide. Hands can stay on the knees, on the navel, out to the side, or again above the head. Directing the breath here into the lower belly, the lower back, the hips and thighs. Observing the 4 parts to your breath. The inhalation and pause. The exhalation and pause. And when you're ready to release the pose, you can use those hands to help those legs come together. Let's roll to your preferred side. Take a brief moment in the fetal position. And then bring yourself up to seated. So here we'll recruit either your bolster or your pillows, lay it across so it's parallel to the short side of the mat, taking a laying side bend. Starting with the right side, you'll lay your right shoulder down on the mat and bring your head down to the floor. If the head doesn't meet the floor with ease, place your block underneath for support. Left arm is going overhead. Unless there's pain in that shoulder, bring the palms together instead. And if you find that your hips need a little support here, you can always pop the block in between the thighs. I encourage you to take Chin Mudra through your right hand. And here, try to allow that left shoulder to come back a little into the space behind you. And then observing the in-breath, starting to press on those lines of tension in the side waist. When you're ready, let's release the pose, coming all the way up. We'll change sides straight away. Gently bringing that right shoulder back into the space behind you. And as you exhale, try to soften your lower back. And let's inhale to lift up. So coming now into our supported fish pose, and you might choose to leave the bolster as it is and use the bolster. So you'll lay across the bolster, make sure the arms can come out to the side, either bringing the head to the mat, or you can place the block underneath the head for support. If you prefer not to use the bolster, you can lay across the blocks with one under the shoulders and maybe one under the head. If your lower back is catching your awareness here, then bend those knees. Feel free to find your mudra once again. Your mudras are another point of concentration and a pranic seal. In this position, breathe into the heart center. And when you're ready to release the pose, bend those knees. If you're on the bolster, you can push the elbows into the bolster, tuck in the chin, come halfway up. If you've got the blocks, move them to the side. Coming back down onto your back. And just take a few breaths with the knees bent, feet wide, knees touching. And just acknowledging any newfound space in the upper body. Breathe into this space. When you're ready, bring those feet a little closer together. Take your left ankle to your right knee. Maintain this shape in the legs. Just bring the legs over to your right. We want the sole of the foot to be flat on the floor. If the foot doesn't meet the floor with ease, place a block under there instead. So don't think of this pose as a twist. We want to push the leg away from the body. So you can use your right hand to do so, or maybe you can reach the ankle. For those yogis that are quite supple through the outer hip, you might like to lift the big toe off the mat and start to roll to the pinky side of the foot. Right leg can be heavy and relaxed. Left arm out to the side or even above the head for a little more of a side bend. Breath awareness into the side body and outer hip. Let's inhale those legs back to center. And changing sides. Inhale to come back to center. And either rolling to your side to push up to seated, or take your hands underneath your bottom, straighten the legs, push through the balls of the feet. Lift the head up off the mat and slowly lower those legs down. Once those feet are an inch or so above the floor, hovering there. And then hinge your way up to seated. So moving now into a wide-legged seated position. Now, if your hips are tight, sit yourself up on your block. Take those legs as wide as is comfortable for you. Now, if you're tight through the hips, as I said, sit up on the block or maybe your bolster. You might even like to bend the knees a little and prop them. If you don't have much range of motion to come forward, you can always bring over a chair so that you're just hinging to the chair, or you could take your bolster, if you've got the bolster, vertical. Of course, if this is still not an option for you, you can recline once again, take those legs up the wall, let those legs come out wide. I'll fold down to the blocks. You can stack the blocks if one is not quite enough for you. So in our yin practice, we don't want to meet our edge. We don't want to find our maximum stretch, because there we are at risk of injury. So if you find yourself going there, which is natural, then just ease off a little. And check in with your breath. Your breath is your barometer. If we've gone too far, often the breath becomes shallow and shortened. And do support the head if you can in this position. And if you're able to turn those palms up and find your mudra once again, do so. Now, this position is intense for most yogis, regardless of how well practiced they are. So just checking that no tension has crept into the jaw. Maintain the tone in your throat. Breathe into both legs. On your next inhalation, let's lift up out of the pose. Helpful here to use the hands to bring those legs together. Have a little squeeze. And then our next position is your Sphinx pose. So feel free just to lay flat on your mat with no props if that's what you prefer. I'm going to use the bolster, the blocks, and the wall. So, option to place your pillow or your bolster parallel to the short side of the mat. You'll want to come back to the wall as close as is comfortable. So the navel will come down onto the bolster. The feet can rest on the wall and blocks underneath your forearms. Now, if you're not resting on your pillow or your bolster and you're just flat on your belly and you feel that you need to support the head at any stage, you can use a block there as well, underneath the forehead. If you are on the blocks and bolster like so and you need to support the head here, you can always make fists with the hands and take them to the jaw. Otherwise, let's keep those fingertips just touching, chin parallel to the floor. Find your drishti, your 1,000-mile stare, or close the eyes altogether. Begin to feel the pulse of the breath moving the body. When you're ready to come out of the pose, if you're in the same variation as I am, lift yourself up. An option to come into a brief child's pose. If you are laying flat on the floor, you can either lower down and turn your head to one side, or if it's comfortable for knees and hips, push yourself back, find your child's pose. Breathe into the back. And let's inhale to come up. And then positioning your bolster like so, parallel to the long side of the mat. Coming into one of my favorite yin poses, your prone twist. So sit with your right hip next to the bolster, hands are either side. Inhale to lengthen the spine, and as you exhale, lay yourself down. Head can turn left or right, whichever is most comfortable for your neck. And if those hips need support, block in between the thighs. So I encourage you to find a longer exhalation here. We'll practice Vishamavriti. So only if it's comfortable for you. I'll count your breath. We'll inhale 4, hold 2, exhale 6, hold 2. If your breath is straining in any way, please ignore my count, return to your natural breath, and just see if you can slightly lengthen your exhalation. So when you're ready, settle into the pose. Let's breathe out together. And inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding 1, 2. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Holding 1, 2. Let's follow the inhalation out of the pose, either coming to your knees to change sides, or if you like, lift those hips up, find a brief downward facing dog before pivoting on the feet and bringing your left hip down next to the bolster. And counting your breath again, let's breathe out and inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, holding 1, 2, exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, holding 1, 2. Follow your next inhalation out of the pose. Just moving your props to the side and then reclining onto your back. So we'll come into our supported bridge pose, and you can use your block for that position or you can use your bolster. Either keeping the knees bent or straighten and relax the legs if that feels okay for your back. Arms can be by your side or above the head. And observing the breath lengthening the front side of the body. When you're ready to release the pose, bend the knees if the legs are straight. And from here, we'll cross the right leg over the left leg. Lifting up the feet, try and draw the knees in towards the chest. Maybe you can reach the calves or even take a hold of the feet. Breathing into the outer hips, the lower belly and the lower back. Your next exhalation, release the pose. Changing sides straight away, right leg over left. Draw those knees in. Or hold onto the ankles, maybe the feet. In your own time, unravel those legs. Lift up the heels and the hips. Remove the block, or if you have the bolster, simply roll it down so it's behind your knees for Shavasana, and let those legs fall heavy. You could always place one block under each thigh instead. Arms by your side, option to find your mudra. Shoulders tucking under. Softening the forehead. Letting the eyes roll back. Tongue and jaw relaxed. You may no longer feel like the breather, but that you are being breathed. Inhale a little deeper now. Begin to wiggle toes and fingers. Follow any urges to move or stretch. And whenever you're ready, roll to your preferred side. And then lifting up to seated. Thanks, yogis, for practicing with me today. I hope you enjoyed that yin class. Please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. It's the best way to support free yoga on YouTube. Wishing you a lovely day.